How can leaders improve mental health and wellness in the workplace? Today, I'm going to give you 5 tips in under 10 minutes that you can immediately apply and answer to this question of improving wellness and mental health in the workplace. If you're wondering where this question comes from, my name is Michael Diettrich-Chastain with ARC Integrated, and this is a question that's coming directly from the clients that we work with to help them improve leadership, team, and workplace culture performance. And all of these videos answer a question and give 5 tips and answer to that question, again, coming directly from the work that we're doing. So let's dive into it. What are the tips that leaders can do to improve wellness and mental health in the workplace? Before I start, just a little bit of a caveat. Because I'm still a licensed therapist, I want to say that this is not clinical advice. These are just strategies that I've seen work well as an executive coach and consultant to organizations in the last many years. And so not clinical advice, but strategies that I've seen work well. All right, let's go. Tip number 1 is to normalize mental health and wellness through connecting it to a core value at the company. So what does that mean? Let's say a core value, as an example, is care, company value of care. So the way that they might talk about care is through the lens of the importance of recognizing wellness as a way to care for our employees, the importance of recognizing wellness as a way to increase the health and support and effectiveness and performance of our employees. You might also connect care to mental health in the context of normalizing the fact that many of us have some sort of mental health challenge over the course of our lives, and that's okay, and that there are resources and tools to support us. So again, the tip is finding a core value within the company and then connecting that to mental health and wellness to normalize it. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to remove the demands that negatively impact mental health and wellness. So what does that mean? Demands are often unspoken at the organizational level. And I'll give you an example that you'll recognize right away, whether it's from your organization, hopefully not, but certainly organizations that you've heard of. And the unspoken demand is this: we expect unspokenly that employees work 65, 70 hours a week sometimes. What that is essentially counterindicative of creating good wellness, good health for any individual. What we know about productivity and performance and ability to be our very best is that we need balance, we need rest, we need to take care of ourselves. And if the demand is that we're working 65, 75, 85 hours a week, the likeliness that that's going to influence our wellness or our mental health is pretty strong. And so what we can do as leaders is to remove that unspoken demand, or at the very least start to evaluate what are the unspoken demands that may negatively influence mental health and wellness in the workplace. Tip number 3 is to focus on health, not illness. And so what does that mean? That means that the organization has the opportunity to communicate things that may impact a healthy lifestyle. So talking about what are some things that the employee population might do. And this could include something as simple as providing food that's really healthy. It could be things that support employees' movement or their ability to take care of themselves, or their ability to meditate or practice mindfulness, for instance. So again, the organization is looking through a lens of what are the ways in which we can promote healthy lifestyle, and not the ways in which we can focus on wellness or mental health as a problem or an illness. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is to look for challenge and incentive opportunity. There's all sorts of examples of this that you've seen probably, or maybe you haven't, in the corporate world. But things like a water challenge, drinking X amount of water per day, challenges around meditating a certain amount of times per week, challenges around a walkathon or a 5K challenge. There's all sorts of ways in which an organization can create challenges and incentives for participation around healthy living. It's a way to get people involved. It's a way to create some community, and hopefully it's a way to perhaps even reward people depending on their participation, which is a good lead into tip number 5, which is all about building community. One of the things that we know about wellness, about mental health, about peak performance in general, is that one of the predictors of challenge that comes up in the research all the time is isolation and loneliness. Meaning that when we're more isolated, we're more lonely, that often correlates to things like anxiety and depression or illness. And so what the organization can do, what the opportunity is to focus on community building activities. This could be various ways to gather the employee groups around interests. It could be, hosting events that allow them to get off site together. It could be, depending on the size of the company, it could be an entire company retreat. And so looking for ways to build community amongst the employee population, again, will yield positive results as it relates to normalizing and hopefully maybe even supporting or reducing likelihood of mental health or wellness issues. So those are the 5 tips. Again, question is, how can a leader more effectively improve wellness and mental health in the workplace? 5 tips right away. Again, and repeat are: number 1, normalizing mental health and wellness by connecting it to a company core value. The example I gave was care as a potential company core value. Tip number 2, remove the demands, unspoken demands that likely are contributing to mental health or wellness challenges, i.e. the 65, 75, 85-hour work week. Tip number 3 is focus on health, not illness. Look for ways to promote healthy lifestyle. Tip number 4 is find ways to institute challenge and incentives for participation. And tip number 5 is build community. Build community. If you've watched this long, thank you so much. Again, Michael Diettrich-Chastain with ARC Integrated. This is a Leadership Live 5, where we take one question from a client that we've been working with and give 5 strategies in answer to that question. Hope this finds you doing very well. Take good care of yourselves. We'll talk to you next time.